Sir is basically the associate professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Malware National Institute of Technology. He has joined in 2018. He has completed his BTech from VIT Ranchi and completed his PhD from IIT Roorkee. So his thesis was on network forensic analysis itself. He was awarded the ISEF fellowship by the Department of Information Technology, Government of India, for his research in information security. He has 27 plus years of teaching, research, and administrative experience. So he is also Dean Academic Affairs since January 2023 till date at Indian Institute of Information Technology, Kota, MNIT, mentored by MNIT Jaipur. He is honorary Dean at Viskarma Skill University, Jaipur since 2019. Officiated as head Department of CSE, MNIT Jaipur from 2019 to 2021. Okay. Co-coordinator for electronics and INCT Academy Phase 1 and Phase 2 hosted at MNIT Jaipur, sponsored by Ministry of Electronics and IT from December 2015 to 2029. Sorry. And he has also coordinated industry-led quantum computing FDPs. So we all know him. Most of us might be knowing him already due to this quantum computing FDPs. Most of us might be knowing. Okay, he is very popular name nowadays in quantum. So we are very much privileged to have you on board, sir. Having a time out of your busy schedule. So we are very much thankful. So sir has also basically supervised 9 PhD thesis, 49 MTechs. Okay, so and the same field, the cyber forensics, he is guiding all of them. Published more than 35 journal papers, more than 70 conference papers, and having immense expertise in various sectors in forensics. He has also co-authored two research reference books, The Fundamental of Network Forensics and Cloud Security Attacks Techniques, Tools and Challenges by Springer and CRC Press respectively. So with this brief introduction, I would like to hand over the session to our respected speaker. So over to you, sir. And from all the participants, I welcome you to the session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vikasji, for inviting me and the detailed introduction. Anyway, thank you so much. So at this time, I would like to share more on my thoughts with reference to what we have been doing in the institute and in the college area, and then some of the new aspects that we are discussing. I'll not be able to see the the chat, so I'll request if there are any chat questions which are coming up, which are important to be discussed. So I'll request Vikasji to kindly interrupt me whenever required. Maybe in half an hour time, I will ask you for any questions, if any. So at that time, we will try to look at it. So here we are talking about forensic investigations, and the investigation is basically on two important aspects, which are called dark web and Tor. Of course, they are connected, and Tor is not something new for all of us. But then we would not have gone details into it, because Tor stands for the onion routing. The onion routing you would have studied in computer networks or advanced computer networks, and basically you would have used it because most of us have used torrent, BitTorrent. So to download movies and things like that, or to download books, mostly which are kept on that. So Tor comes from the concept called anonymous communication networks, or ACN, right? And there are many anonymous communication networks these days, but one of the popular one is the onion routing, right? There are others, we will discuss some of them also. But by and large, Tor protocol is the way that you can access what is called the dark web. Now, when you talk about the dark web, don't think that it is actually something which is very negative, right? Dark web is something very illegitimate or unlawful, or something like that, or malicious, things like that. But then, of course, because of the principles or properties of being anonymous, right, a lot of things can be done in dark web, and hence sometimes it is also used for malicious purposes, and hence there is a need for us to really look at. And sitting on an Indian environment, most of us are not aware of what's actually going on in dark web and Tor. So we want to actually analyze and look at. So let me introduce you dark web to you first, and then some of you may be aware, but for those who are not, let me take you through this mechanism, and then maybe in between, once I introduce dark web to you, I will give you a slight time for question answers, and then we will go ahead to see how we can investigate or what is the data that can be obtained, because it's anonymous. When it's anonymous, actually the principle is that nothing is revealed about that network. So but then still, what can be done and what can be obtained is what we are going to discuss here, right? So we are going to explore Tor, explore the hidden services, and using some OS int tools. That's what he mentioned. OS int is open source intelligence tools. Hunchly, Onion Scan, and Onion Share, and other tools are there. So where we try to understand. So please, when we try to understand and analyze malware, also you can look up for various OS int tools or open source intelligence tools, which help us to disambiguate the malware, or trying to do the lexical analysis of the malware, or trying to re-engineer the malware, or reverse engineer the malware. So all of these, there are so many tools which are coming up. So we don't have to reinvent the whole cycle again. That's something that we can try to look at. So let me start with introducing you to dark web. So this is the scheme of things that I would like to introduce you to dark web and Tor, and try to take up a dark web investigation and see how I can use some of the key OS int tools, and then we can also use honeypots and some custom tools that are there, and what are the challenges, and we'll conclude with that, right? So that's what I would like to keep this talk to that aspect. So let me take you through this aspect of what is dark web. Dark web is a portion of the internet that is not indexed by traditional search engines. So if you use Google, or if you use Google in the sense Google Chrome, or maybe Microsoft Edge, or you use Mozilla Firefox, so any of these browsers will not be able to access some of the information which is present in the dark web, right? So it is only accessible through software, special software called Tor, right? So there's a Tor browser. So if you want to get in, you have to get what is a Tor browser. We'll discuss about what Tor browser is a little bit of time, right? Basically, it is used for legitimate use, which is initially was created by Department of Defense, or the DARPA, which was the Defense Advanced Research Agency, DARPA. So they created it basically so that they can have a means of communication. They will be able to communicate with these things, and then you will be able to understand how the data can be stored and retrieved without anybody knowing it. So when you have classified information which need not be revealed, army people want to communicate with one another. So they created this mechanism of dark web, which is an anonymous communication network, which uses the normal internet, but it uses an encrypted channel running over the internet, and hence it is not accessible. But slowly, when people found that these are very good ways of hiding behind the anonymous communication network, they use the protocol, and now they're trying to do illicit activities like illegal market, cybercrime, storing pirated data, storing pornography, creating, selling weapons and buying weapons, transactions, which can be done. And now adding to that, the cryptocurrency is giving them a great support, because if you want to transfer money very easily, you can do it using cryptocurrency, and nobody will be able to do a trial and link the transactions and the activities on dark web. So these are some advantages that we look at. So what is dark web? So if you want to understand, then we understand the two terms: deep web and surface web. And surface web is very easy. We all know what is surface web. Surface web is the web that is involving all websites which are indexed by search engines. They can be indexed. So you have Google or Bing, and they have these websites. These websites can be part of the surface web. Surface web is something which is the superficial. You don't need a login actually. They are not indexed anywhere. So it's basically something which can be easily accessible. It's not behind some restricted access. So it's open access. So that's what you can look at, right? And search engines, which are like web crawlers, can easily go and get that information very easily. So that's how that you can look at, right? But then when you look at deep web, it is not indexed anywhere, right? So you need to log in, or you need to have an access mechanism by which you are able to access. So maybe let us say if you are accessing IEEE or some Elsevier data, so they are academic databases and they are stored somewhere, and you are not able to retrieve that information, and hence that's where you can try to get that. So let us say if you want to access that information, IEEE provides that access to few institutions which run on a certain IPs. So you're able to access the information only when you are sitting on those systems. Like you are sitting in MNIT Jaipur, you are able to access IEEE LCV to certain databases that are accessible. So just when I go out of that campus and try to access that on my other networks, so then it's not possible. On a mobile network, it's not possible, right? So that's something which is deep web, right? Maybe the bank accounts that you have, maybe any of the accounts which are through a login mechanism, right? So they are there, and they are available, and that's there. But then some things which are not even accessible by authorized access, like password or login or biometric or anything. So that is what is available in what is called the dark web. So what is dark web? If I want to understand figuratively, you can look at this diagram. So these are the various layers of the web, and here you see that the percentage is 4% of the entire indexed data that is there, which can be accessed using a website, is basically what is called the surface web. Surface web is only 4% of data. You have so much of data. It is only 4% which is on the surface, easily accessible by anybody, publicly accessible. There is no need for any special restriction that is there. No need to provide any password. No need to provide any access information. No need to be on a particular network to access that information. Wherever you are, you'll be able to access that information. It's called surface web. Then what is called the deep web? As you see, government records, scientific records, academic information, financial records, medical records, and legal records. These are information which cannot be accessed. Let us say you want to access some of the medical tests you have taken. You want to access the reports of that medical test. You can't access it directly. Okay, so though it may come on your WhatsApp and you can see the PDF, but only it will come on your you have a special access to your phone. That is why it's able to come. Nobody will be able to see your data because it's a medical record. It's personal. If somebody knows your medical records, they can actually try to manipulate you. So that's something that we can look at. And then these records are very important in countries which are have a lot of health insurance schemes, which are very costly. In our country, nobody bothers about health insurance, and there's no great benefit by health insurance also, because we don't get into such critical problems. But then when you get into critical problem, the health insurance plays a major role in other countries. So that those records become very important, and hence they are protected, which is called the deep web, and that is actually put up at 90%, right? Though it's the whole thing is shown at 96%. Dark web is actually put at 6%. Though the total is put up at 96%, the dark web is put at 6%, which is only accessible through a specific activity called Tor, right? So the onion routing is where you can get it. So you can visit Tor project and try to read more about it, to understand what is the Tor protocol, what is the dark web, and many of the other things that are there, right? So let's move forward. Let's try to understand what is onion routing then. It's a network that provides anonymous communication network, right? So it's basically an anonymous communication network and provides anonymous communication. So you don't know who is sending the packet and who is receiving the packets or the data. But it routes internet traffic through a series of volunteer operated servers. So they are called relays. So the means of communication is internet. The means of communication is nodes which are connected to the internet, but they are volunteer. They install the Tor software, they connect to the Tor network, and because they connect to the Tor network, those systems are used as relays, and those systems are what are actually taking the traffic. So they are all connected to the internet. They are running the normal traffic. IP traffic is flowing, but then an overlay network is created on the normal traffic, and they routes the internet traffic through the series of volunteer operated servers. So these volunteer operated servers are actually the people who become members of the Tor network. So they give their system as a relay. So they allow the Tor traffic to pass through them. They don't know what is passing through. They don't know what is the information that is going through, but they allow that encrypted traffic to flow through. Right. So Tor ensures privacy by masking users' IP addresses and encrypting their data. So the data that is being sent is encrypted. The user IP addresses that it is going through is having a different address mechanism. It masks. right? So that's how we look at, right? So how does a Tor work? So data is encrypted multiple times through a series of relays, okay, and then it passes through that. So each relay knows the previous relay and the next relay. That's all. So that's how the anonymity is maintained. I don't have to bother about where the packet is coming from, where the packet is going. I just have to bother what is my previous node and what is my next node. That's all. I take the packet from the previous node, I give it to the next node, my job is done. So that is what Tor actually works with, right? So let us see. This is a mechanism how you can look at uh, showing how the things work, right? So if I would like to understand. Okay, this is how I can make it bigger and show you. So I just try to move it. Okay, so this is how it looks like, right? So I've just increased the size. This is where the user is starting, and he's getting a routing information from the directory. So he wants to send somewhere, so he gets the basic information how it gets to go. It sends it to the router. The router sends it to the Tor entry node. So here the user is sitting and is sending the information from his laptop, desktop, or mobile phone using a Tor browser, and the Tor browser is connected to the internet service provider, and the internet service provider is connected to the Tor entry. So this is where the encryption starts. Once it crosses the internet service provider, till that point you know where it is going. So once you get here, it encrypts the traffic and sends it to the Tor entry node, right? So this information may also be available with the internet service provider here. So once you go here, then it sends it to different relays in between, right? So it sends to different relays. The relays are there, and there, let us say there are 3 relays. So the system is sending, and the packets are going through either one of the relays, and finally reaching what is called a Tor exit node, right? So Tor entry node, Tor exit node, and Tor relays, and from there it either goes to regular services or to specific onion services, right? So this is something that you can try to look at, right? So yeah, so this is how it works. So the packet starts from here, and the packet reaches normal websites or onion websites. And when you want to send a packet to onion, it has to go only through a Tor browser, and the file extension that you get to have to access this onion service is a .onion website, right? So like how we have .com and .in and what do you say, .edu, .in, or whatever different things that you have, or what do you say, .gov, or depending on the different websites, you have a .onion website here, right? So how does an onion routing works? This is how the packets are moving from the client Tor software. So he's using a browser and sending it. So then your first layer of the packet is coming through a wireless network, and then it's connected, and then an onion layer is created. Then it goes to the next node, another onion layer is created, it goes to the other node. So multiple onions layers, like how an onion is made of multiple layers, everything has a multiple layer. So and it goes to that. So here it is limited to the entry node. It is sending a packet, it knows what is the entry node, and from there it knows what are the next node. So it goes to the next node, middle node. So this knowledge is limited to between the entry node and the exit node. And from the exit node, you know that it is going to some destination, and you know the address here, right? So that is how onion routing works. So I will show you a diagram also. So there are multiple versions of Tor protocol which have come in. So Tor protocol version 1 was legacy initially, something in 2000s. You can see that the Tor protocol came in, the original version, and it was used for routing traffic through 3 delays: entry node, middle node, and the exit node. It was vulnerable to certain attacks called correlation and timing attacks. You could easily find out. So it was limited in terms of security features compared to newer versions. So version 2 and version 3 are more strong. So Tor has been heavily attacked as well, because other countries want to know what is actually happening in this country's military base. So maybe if US is using it, the other countries want to find out what's actually happening. Version 2 came in 2015, and it tried to improve security and privacy. It was enhanced with stronger encryption and resistance to some attacks, introduced the concept of hidden services for .onion websites, and more robust, again, de-anonymization techniques than version 1, and the legacy onion addresses, that is example .onion use in version 2. So .onion addresses came in from version 2 onwards. Version 3, and which is the current version, the latest version was introduced in 2021. It provides stronger encryption, which is called ED25519, for key exchanges, and resistance to uh, various advanced attacks. So it significantly improves the security and privacy of .onion sites. So .onion sites are more strong or more hardened. You would see when it's not easy to attack Tor protocol version 3. So onion addresses use version 3 with a 56 character address length. So every address has a 56 character address length and enhances scalability, reliability, and performance over the previous these things, right? Previous versions. So the key difference is security. It offers higher security because of better improved encryption and resistance to advanced threats. The second one is the version 3 addresses are 56 characters long, whereas version 2 are only 16 characters. So that's one advantage that we have. And then version 3 proves resistance to attacks like traffic correlation and de-anonymization, making it robust than version 2. So anonymization was a major tool, but it's also used to make the Tor protocol version stronger. Apart from Tor protocol, you will also try to understand Tor browser. Tor browser, as you understand, is a Mozilla Firefox ESR web browser. It's modified, but it's not as it is same. So if you ask me what is the first problem that I can take up in Tor, is try to compare the Tor browser with the Mozilla Firefox browser, because it's a modified Mozilla Firefox browser that you are trying to use. So you can open up, both are open source. Tor browser, which you can find on Tor project, is open source. You can open the source and see the code. Similarly, Mozilla Firefox is also an open source browser. You can open the Mozilla Firefox browser and then you can see the contents. So both ways you can try to compare both of them and then you can see how it goes. So this is a very important MTech level project statement. You can see, you can compare what Mozilla Firefox does and what Tor browser does, and what is information the Tor browser will give you when you analyze using a browser mechanism. You have some tools like Tor button, Tor launcher, NodeScript, HTTPS everywhere, Firefox extensions, and Tor proxy. Some of these can be added to the Tor browser to make it more comfortable. So users can operate Tor browser from removable media under Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. And Tor browser usually starts a Tor background process and routes traffic through Tor network. So that's something that you can look at. And upon transmission of sessions, the browser, which moves by a private browsing mode, deletes privacy sensitive data such as HTTP cookies and the browsing history. So by and large, it's a private browser. So like how you use in incognito mode, or what do you call in Mozilla, you use a private browser, right? So you can try to use that and you can do that. So whenever a session is ending, the browser moves the private browsing, deletes privacy sensitive data, all the HTTPS cookies and the browsing history is deleted. So it's totally anonymous. So anybody using the system also is anonymous in that sense. So that's where using the Tor browser comes into the picture. So this is the thing. And nextly, next we understand what are called onion services. As I mentioned, you have the extension called .onion. So what is onion? Onion provides a service. So it's called an onion service. So they're also called hidden services, right? Because they're the future of Tor network that allows websites or services to be hosted and accessed anonymously. They are called hidden because normal search engines cannot uncover them. Only a Tor browser, which is available, only they can access that information. So it's accessible only through Tor browser. The onion services can be any application. So my students created an onion service of mine. They put up my website, resume on as a website or as an onion service as a .onion. So if I want to access my website, my resume, what I can do is I can say .onion, that website I can give, and it opens, my resume opens. So these are small, simple assignments. Create a small onion site, right? For those who are interested and those who feel that it's something exciting, let me do something about it. Just create a small onion site and see how you can access them, right? You can log in and maybe you can store it somewhere, and then you can try to access that information, right? So basically uses multiple layers of encryption to maintain anonymity, and you cannot it's very difficult to break the anonymity. It incorporates a system of encryption and relays to ensure the anonymity of both the server and the client, and hence you cannot beat the encryption already, and then you cannot get that, right? So onion services are unique domain names, and the domain names are not easily understood like how we do it in a surface web where we can directly get extension. And mostly, if you search for a website, Google will tell you what is the correct address of the website. But .onion will have what do you say, 35-bit address or 60-bit address using hexadecimal codes, and followed by .onion. So it's very difficult to remember the file name unless and until you can have a copy of it. You cannot actually look at it. So the .onion address is a slightly bigger size, right? And it is hidden from public internet. You cannot access an onion service using a normal browser. So if you want to understand how a hidden service works, right, and how they are, so a normal client wants to access a hidden service. This is the logic here. Client is here and the hidden service is here. I want to access the hidden services. Now there are some nodes which are called rendezvous points. They are also called, which is interaction point. And there is a directory server which actually maintains a directory for all the services that are being stored here. So a client wants to access the storage, right? So how do I access that storage? So what I did was, you can start with the directory server, and then initially the client comes. The client has to communicate to the introduction point. So that is the first way of accessing. Before that, you store the hidden services on the directory server. Whatever hidden service, let us say I want to access, it is already registered on the directory server, and the directory server maintains that address. The descriptors are placed on the directory server, and the client goes to the directory server and tries to get all the hidden services that are there. The list of hidden services that are there, it is provided to the any Tor browser client. So Tor client connects and then goes to the directory server and opens the editor, so it shows all the services that are available. So you take that service, that list is registered actually here, right? So first you try to create that, then you create this, then you contact the directory server. When you contact the directory server, the directory gives the information of a rendezvous point. It gives the address of a rendezvous point. It does not give the address of the hidden service. So what happens to the hidden service? The hidden service then, the rendezvous point gives the updated information about joining an introduction point. Rendezvous point is where it takes us through the to the hidden service. But how do you go to the hidden service? You go to the introduction service again. So this will be what do you say? The directory server will have no rights of encryption, and here the introduction point will only give you the information, right? So basically, you have a client which knows that this system, one of the system, is getting attacked. So you ping the directory server, and the directory server actually informs, right, and then you try to go it that way. But there are practical points which are available between the introduction point and the hidden service. So the communication opens up, and then they communicate, and then they send the time key of the rendezvous point and the hidden server, right? So once I come here, so first what I did, I registered my hidden service with the directory server. Then I accessed the information of the hidden service. Then I got a rendezvous point. Rendezvous point talk to the introduction point. Introduction point is talking and getting the access and giving the access to the hidden service. So once the hidden service is given access, it is actually given on the rendezvous point. So already the client is there at the rendezvous point. So it talks to the service, and then it talks to there's a channel which is created. So this becomes the entry node, that becomes the exit node, and that becomes a resource. For an example sake, I am mentioning. Right. In a similar sense, if I want to understand what actually happens in a Tor network landscape, so these are onion. This looks like an onion. So there is a normal user request which is going. So there are multiple rendezvous points. Goes to the rendezvous point. So it has an onion structure, and that onion structure is actually giving you access to the directory server or the entry node. And from the entry node, as you're going to the road one, so you remove the outer layer, and then here you want to go through after the relay node onto the exit node. Then you say you remove one more layer. So you removed one layer here, one layer here, and the third layer here. So then you go to one called that's where the introduction point is there. From the introduction point, you will be able to access the Tor information. The information that you have reached this should also reach the thing, right? So the network is simple. User sends the information to rendezvous point. Rendezvous point creates an onion routing mechanism, goes to the entry node, loses one layer, goes us to the memory, loses one more layer, and goes us to the third laboratory, a third location, and then you try to close that. So there is a rendezvous point which user will contact first, and you will get a Tor packet from there, and then you send it to the entry node. From there you send it to one of the mechanisms where the relays are handled, and then it has to go to the what do you say, the owner, and then it has to check it. So that's where the exit node is actually getting the information where it has to be sent. So it creates that address and sends it to any one of the three locations, because it knows that the onion service is available on this. But now when you send a normal traffic from the normal network, it will not be able to recognize. So that is where you have this. So these are the nodes which are there. The entry node, which is also called the guard node. The entry node is the first node in the Tor network. So you connect to the internet service provider. From the internet service provider connects to the first system is what is called the guard node. And the guard node is the first node in Tor network in a year's traffic. So they do that, and they encrypt the user's data with their public key and pass it along to the next node. And entry nodes are critical for use anonymity, because they do not know the destination of the traffic. And exit nodes. So exit nodes are the final nodes in Tor body network before exits the destination server on the regular interval. They decrypt the user's data and send it to the destination server. Exit nodes can see the encrypted traffic's destination, but don't know the original source. So there is an entry node, there is an exit node, there is a relay node. So that's what you need to understand. The exit node actually is a terminal node in the network traffic, and they decrypt the user's data and send it to the destination servers, though they are having a positive view of the this thing. But then still the exit node is where you will have to interact with that, right? So that's something that you can look at. Just give me 1 minute. Hello. Hello. Okay. Talk loan nano. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, sorry. Let me come back. The first set of nodes, as we look at, are entry nodes. The entry nodes are the guard nodes, and the exit nodes are the final nodes, which where the traffic exits. So it enters the network. So the in-between network is what is a Tor network. So you're actually coming on the internet and entering the entry node. That is where the encryption starts. From there till the exit nodes, it goes through multiple relay nodes, but none of them know. Once it comes to the exit node, then again it is decrypted, and from there it goes to the destination address, right? So this is the two addresses that are there in between. In between, there are middle nodes, also called as relay nodes. Relay nodes receive the traffic from entry nodes and pass it on to the exit node. There is no knowledge of the source or destination of the traffic they handle. So relays help in obscuring the user's origin. So from the entry node to the relay node, there is no connection. It's on an encrypted overlay network. It is using the network nodes which are connected to the internet, but there's a separate network which is created, right? So from there, the anonymous traffic starts. So there is no way that you can identify the source and destination within the relay nodes. Only at the entry node and the exit node, you will know where the nodes are going. The relay nodes can also function as entry nodes, but do not serve as exit nodes. So that's something that we can look at. So they can function as entry nodes, but they cannot serve as exit node, because an exit node cannot be a relay node, right? So that's something that is important. They contribute to the overall network's performance and do that. In between, there are some bridge nodes. They are basically a type of entry node only, but they are not publicly listed on the Tor directory. They are used to bypass censorship. So many of the countries which have restrictions on the communication mode, right? So they use what is called censorship. So they say you cannot watch these sites, you cannot view this content, you cannot make these statements. So if you make these statements, they'll block the data, and then they will restrict. They will do censorship. They will do editing. They provide an alternate entry point for users. So they are called the bridge nodes. Then there are directory authorities where they maintain a list of all the Tor nodes. So these directory services, the directory servers are available. DS is available. The first server that we saw, which has the entire information of all the all the entry nodes you can have. So that is what is called a directory authority. So it lists all the Tor nodes and the status. They help us to find the entry node and other network information. So directory authorities play a crucial role in network governance and stability. So when you look at HSDIR nodes that are hidden service directory nodes, right? They store information about Tor hidden services, facilitating their lookup and accessibility. And the introduction and rendezvous point, as we say, they receive the incoming connections to a hidden service, while rendezvous points facilitate the connection between the client and the hidden service. So the introduction point actually tells the hidden service that somebody wants to access you, and then the Tor service which is there, the onion nodes which are there, they talk to the rendezvous point and give access to themselves. And once if there is any problem, it breaks the relationship, it breaks the connection that is there. So these are the 7 nodes, right? So let me pause here and give you time if you want to ask any questions, or if there are any things on the chat, let me talk to you on that, right? So let me see. Okay, I think there are no questions. Yeah, are you able to digest? Okay, can exit node be abused? Abused in the sense, yeah, you can actually reach the entry node and exit node. As much as we have tried to analyze that, we are able to find that. Can they be abused in the sense you are trying to compromise them? Yeah, maybe you can compromise that. That is something that you can look at that, right? Bridge node, keep it anonymous. So let me take you through back to bridge node. What is a bridge node? As we look at, bridge nodes are type of entry node again, right? But they are not publicly listed on the Tor directory. Usually Tor directory has a list of all nodes and all the related onion websites which are there, and we can pass that information. And some aspect from the normal network, so they'll be able to connect to the bridge nodes and then give that information. So that is the question that we can try to look at. The entry node keeps the remaining communication anonymous. So that's something that we can try to look at. So that's how the bridge node keeps it anonymous. So by and large, you have understood okay, how we analyze that we are safe or not. See, there is nothing malicious per se. There is no malicious per se. We can use Tor for anonymous communication, and we may access information which is available on the .onion sites. And if there is anything malicious that is there, then we can easily find out, and immediately we have to log out of the Tor browser. That's the best thing that we can do, so that anything doesn't reach our system, right? So that is something that we need to understand. But otherwise, if we don't also totally understand what's going on, then we may be losing out also, because as the technology increases, as the level 3, now it is on version 3, then version 4, version 5, it becomes more difficult, right? If Tor traffic is blocked and bridge node help us to bypass that, how does that happens without being identified? Yeah. So the basic idea that is there is, some of these nodes are not listed on uh, are not listed as a volunteer on the the Tor network, right? So usually whenever somebody joins a Tor network and wants to be part of being a volunteer on the Tor network and wants to allow the traffic to flow through them or flow through the bandwidth that they have, I have a bandwidth, I have internet access, so I will give that internet access to the what you call our Tor network, and then it goes on. So but then what you want to do is the bridge nodes, because they are not indexed, they can bypass. All those nodes which are indexed are being monitored. There will be some nodes which are not registered, and because of which they can get an objection. So as we move ahead, we'll see that discussion going on here, right? So let me go back to that presentation. So are you able to see the presentation? Hopefully you're able to see the presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah. So why should we investigate dark web? So that's the basic question that we tend to look at. Why should we investigate dark web, right? To basically to detect and prevent cybercrime. So these days, dark web, because it's anonymous communication network, nobody can actually find out who is doing what and what is stored in the onion service and who is maintaining that information. Maybe there may be movies, there may be some what do you say, drug trafficking information, or human trafficking information, or maybe you can have pornography, maybe you have child sex abuse material, CSAM it's called. Maybe you'll have some problems on the digital forensics. You may have some packet capture data, you may have some banking data. All these things can be put there. And then law enforcement is wanting to do something because there are so many illegal activities which are happening. The malicious software malware is also distributed, and if you want to run some zero day attacks, if you want to get some information about malware, if you want to get some malware themselves, right? So dark web is a very good place. You can find everything. If you want DDoS attacks, if you want to buy botnets, if you want, botnets are a network of bots which are compromised systems, and you can use them using a command control mechanism, and you can launch attacks using those systems which are actually compromised. The owners of those systems don't know that the system is compromised, so the system's internet is used by these compromised mechanisms, and there is a command and control system which actually controls these 100 systems or 150 systems, 1000 systems. All the 1000 systems can be used to attack one system or 10 systems or whatever, and then it becomes a very routine this thing. So that's the challenge that is there. So while investigating dark web, what is the problem? There may be some legitimate users. You cannot disturb their anonymity. You want to find out some of the attackers information, but then you may try to uncover the information about some normal users, which goes against the protocol of Tor, right? And there are difficulties identifying hidden services. You want to go and visit some hidden services, very difficult, and there are legal and ethical considerations where the question is of you are attacking somebody, but then actually somebody else is getting this thing. So there are multiple illegal activities that are going on. So that's one is child pornography, one is criminals and hackers for hire. So you can get hold of hackers and immediately tell them a problem. They will hack a system and give it to you, right? So that's where you can get some services for money, and you can do that, right? So leak data, you will get a lot of information. Malware, which is of interest to you, malware and cyber threats are there. Cyber terrorism is there. Credit card and debit card scam is there. Arms and ammunitions, you will get them. Somebody recently sent me a photograph of a website which is selling US passports or England, UK passports shortly. And then those passports are very easily available. You can go and pay the money and buy a passport, and then you can stay in a foreign country. Surprising. Some of these things are very disturbing. Also, drug trafficking, right? All these illegal activities are happening on the dark web. So we need to do something about it, right? So that's what is the challenge. So how we can do that is some of the mechanisms that we have highlighted here, where you can collect the data and then analyze them. So that's how you can find out who is doing it and what is doing it, and how do we get aspect to that. The process one is called crawling and scraping. So you use a Tor browser, and then you use a Tor network and see what are the web pages that you can browse, what are the web informations you can browse, how you measure it, and then you can keep it. The second one, process two, is traffic monitoring and capturing, which is below. Traffic one is crawling and sampling. The second one is basically process two, which is traffic monitoring and capturing, and it goes along with that. So you have extracted information like network traffic lags, communication metadata, packet payloads, all those things are there. In the first process, what you get is user profiles, web pages, forum threads, and discussions if there are any. And then you have the product listing and marketplaces. So all this information is available, and you can get that information. You can get all the websites that are being used in the network, and you can get that information, right? So that's what you can do that, right? The third step is cryptocurrency analysis. So some of the transactions that are happening, or some of the mechanisms that are happening on the Tor network, has a direct relationship with what you call the crypto analysis, this thing. So you can get transaction data, you can get valid addresses, transaction pattern, and a fund flow. Some major activities happening here, and there is a major fund transfer which is happening here. So we can try to analyze how this goes on. Process 4 is social media analysis. Obviously, a very important tool is to Telegram. We are all on WhatsApp. The whole world, which is of hackers, it's on Telegram. So if you're not on Telegram, please join some of the Telegram. And mostly we may think Telegram people join only who want to watch some kind of negative content, or be part of some negative activities. But Telegram has a lot of intelligent activities also, and unfortunately, a lot of Tor activity also, which is negative in one sense. But then, yes, you can do that, right? So that's where you can get IP addresses, network linkage analysis. You can do communication metamedia, and you can try to connect entities, connect geographies, and try to find out whether there's something happening, right? Social media analysis also helps. So these are five various aspects from where you can collect the data on Tor, right? So that's something that is easy. You can get that information. So who are all participating in the dark web landscape? If you look at, so there are some malicious users here. There are some analyst monitor users to identify information. There is a security analyst. There's a legitimate active users. There are directory services. There are law enforcement agencies. They deploy some of the aspects on infiltrate by EA is also placed. So so this is how the dark web, which can be accessed via Tor. So you can do a security analysis, can be doing that, and then you have a lot of resources and services you can run based on hidden services, and the services are also available against the DNS and email firewall, and they can not go out. So that's the thing that is there. So you have a legitimate user, you have an attacker, and then you have some of these things which can be done. So these are the key participants. So you can have the infiltrants, which you can be there as a part of the network. You provide bandwidth and you provide as a volunteer. You may not do any negative activity, but you are actually observing, and that's what police people are doing it, right? So that's what you can try to look at. So now when we look at this introduction, we now come to take a turn with OSINT tools, which are the open source intelligent tools for forensic investigation. Now the attack is already happening, or there is some aspect which is done. So how do I capture the data? What has actually happened, and how does it happen is what we'll try to look at. So their first tool is called Hunchly. Hunchly is a web capture and analysis for investigation tools. We'll show you some snapshots of how Hunchly looks like. You can install and run it, and then TCP and Wireshark and TCP dump. These are network protocol tools which you must have used all along. They are basically used for network protocol analyzers, right? As network protocol analyzers, so they are called Wireshark and TCP dump, and the packet level analysis tools, right? Onion scan is a security scan and with vulnerability analysis of hidden services, and that's what are called onion services. So these onion services you can try to access. You can try to check whether there is a security vulnerability within them, and so that's how you can try to find out, right? So security and vulnerability analysis of hidden or onion services. So there may be a lot of tools which are required to analyze the what do you say, the hidden services which are there, and you can do security and vulnerability analysis, right? So onion share is a secure analysis, file sharing, and online service hosting mechanism, and you can look at that, and then that's how you can see that there is a onion share, which is a secure anonymous file sharing and onion service sharing mechanism is there. So that is what you can try to look at, and then you have the tornix, which is a command line based monitoring tool for tor relays and clients. So there is also, which is called torbot, which is a automatic crawling of tor hidden services. So these are some of the tools that we try to look at. Tornix was formed by Tor project itself. And the first interaction that we had with Tor project is with the tool called Tornix, which we tried to create it into what is called Track Tor. Right, Track Tor was the first project was done by undergraduate students, and that's where I got involved more into this aspect. So one of the first tool that we try to look at is called Hunchly. Hunchly is basically a data capture tool. How do you get the data from what do you say onion files, and you can do that, right? So how do you do that? You can capture the content and organize it. So the main features are automatic capture of web pages during online investigation. So if you give the web page information or the onion page information, it goes and fetches all the information across the system. So that's how you can try to look at. So you'll get a complete picture, right? And the preservation of the chain of custody for digital evidence. So the Hunchly itself will take care, as it is capturing the information. It will try to keep track of the chain of custody. The chain of custody is one original copy has to be stored, and a copy only has to be evaluated. So a copy of it is made, and the copy is evaluated. It is not the first one, which is the main source file, is the one which is preserved, and the second one is evaluated, right? So how it works? It works as a browser extension to capture all web activity. If it talks to it captures metadata, uh, uh, timestamps, URLs, and everything, you can get it, right? So that is what you can get. What's an example is you are identifying a hidden service offering drugs on the dark web. So what you do, you capture all the web pages related to activities for further analysis. Then you organize and track key pieces of evidence throughout the uh, throughout the investigation. What are the benefits? It allows organized and efficient digital evidence management. So the tool is itself, of course, it's open source, and you can modify it. So you can, it provides verifiable records of investigations, maintaining integrity in legal proceedings. So that's the advantage of Hunchly. Right? How does the Hunchly look like? It looks like something like this. So once you install it, some simple thing like that, and you make a first capture. There's an active case that is there. What are the capture images are 0. What are the pages selected are 73. What are the selected ones selected of this thing, and then you have one notes taken. So finally, you have the selector machines. 108 machines are available for us to execute this. So that's what can be easily done, right? So here you have 73 pages, and you have to view that, right? So and later you can have some more diagrams, something like this, where you can get a tracking code. You want to identify hidden services, multiple hidden services are mentioned, right? So you'll have to go and identify each of these 25 machines, what it is actually doing. If there's anything malicious going on, we can report it to the expert. So this is something that you can look at. So you have the dark web related information, accounts related infrastructure. Finally, you have the targeting code. So that is where you can get that. Then you can analyze some of the words that are there, what are the keywords that are there. So you captured from the onion links. So all those links, you try to find out how many times the account is maintained, and finally you save that information, right? So it goes, and what are the selectors, and what are the tags, and what is information you will up to that. So that's how it looks like. And then it also captures the IP address. So it tracks the private IP address of the first node, and goes to the second node, and then so these are some aspects that you can look at. So there are IP version 4 addresses, IP version 6 addresses. There are dark web addresses, accounts, and infrastructure. But of course, we are seeing what are the addresses that are there. So it captures all the 9 addresses and shows them in the next screen. Right. So capturing email addresses. So there are in this, you also understand that because somebody created the IP address, so there is a way. So all these IP addresses um, are possible that they may not be available, right? So that's something that you can look at, right? So this is what Hunchly. So you get the what are all the information that you get from Hunchly. You get basically you can capture the web pages during online investigation. You can preserve the chain of custody, and you can able to access each private movement, what your nodes that are obtained, and the various it captures the various details which can help us in investigation. So the next tool that we are trying to look at is called Onion Scan. Okay, first one was a web crawling tool. It scraps the data and collects. And scrapping also has limitations because scrapping is not allowed by all websites. So some of the websites they are against scrapping, and they're able to detect scrapping. Somebody is writing a code and he's fetching the information from our website. Immediately, it stops you from doing that, and then you can change it, right? So it's a tool for security auditing of Tor hidden services. So it scans for vulnerabilities and misconfigurations in hidden services, detects lack of metadata and personal information, provides detailed security reports to help secure hidden services. So it analyzes onion websites for final what do you say, potential security flaws. So it analyzes .onion websites and then identifies exposed services, weak encryption, and other security risks. So these are some things which we do when you test them for uh, so that's something that we can look at. So how it analyzes .onion websites for potential security flaws. It identifies exposed services, weak encryption, and other security risks. So that's what OnionsCon can do for you. So first one was Anjali, second one was OnionsCas. So a simple use case example, if you look at auditing our Tor hidden service in security vulnerabilities, there are some security vulnerabilities that are occurring, and how does a Tor hidden service react, or what actually happens to a Tor hidden service is what you can detecting weak points in encryption protocols and identifying unintentional data leaks. So this is something that you can look at, right? And there are benefits like you help administrators secure their services from exploitation. Uh, Usually, it is useful for cybersecurity professionals performing dark web security endorsements, right? So basically, it's like a vulnerability assessment kind of a tool where you try to run it against Tor and see the weaknesses of Tor and try to plug it, right? And then you can talk to administrators or developers and help them in making the software better. So that's something that you can look at. So this is how the onion scan lab looks like, the login time, and then you optimize. There's a summary for questions, and then there are some tags, there are some search items, and definitely there are the websites which are given, and you can, and the mail IDs are given, and you can actually go and check that out, right? So this is how the summary is there, and we can do that. So it gives you a list of all things which get captured, and then you are trying to finger your what do you say, you're able to look at get inspect the package and get that information and do the correlation. You get all the linked tags that are there and the options that are there, so you can get that in a simple link to the website, link to the email address. You'll be able to get the correlated summary. So PGP identities are pretty good privacy which we use in emails. There are various relationships which you can tag, IP addresses which you can list, co-hosted clearnet sites which are there. HTTP cookies can be stored, and server indication and server intimation. So these are all things which need to be taken in advance. So this is a vulnerability tool and gives you correlation. The third tool that we are discussing is called Onion Share. Onion Share is a tool for basically sharing files over the Tor and hosting on server. So when we look at basically it's a security sharing files over Tor and hosting Onion services. So whenever you want to share a file from over Tor, so you use what is called Onion Share, right? It allows anonymous file sharing and hosting Onion services without relying on third-party software. So peer-to-peer file sharing with no need for external servers, okay, ensures complete anonymity for both sender and receiver. So it creates an anonymous Tor service for file sharing. So file sharing protocol acts directly between peers, ensuring privacy. So these are something which do happen, and uh, we may miss out on that, right? So that's how you can look at. So basically, Onion Share is a tool for securely sharing files. Maybe on your mobile you have various file sharing mechanisms. Even Google gives you a direct sharing mechanism. There was earlier when we were doing file sharing, it was more of uh, what do you say, file sharing. It was slightly difficult. You had to copy the pen drive and you can do it. Nowadays it's so easy, right? Using your Gmail ID, the whole data gets transferred, right? The file sharing is easy. So if you want to move files from one Android phone to other Android phone, it's easy. You have Zender and various tools like that. Files can be sent, and you can do that, right? So that's what actually is the onion share in its formula. This thing, right? It removes the need for trusting third-party services that could compromise the thing. So Onion service has different ways of sharing files, receiving files. It's almost similar to your what do you call the Zender mechanism, where you receive the files and then host the website and check it out. So you can Onion service is hosting on Onion share mechanism. So you give a read write test permissions, complete permissions, and the Onion share address is given below as a .onion address, and then the copyware is also provided, and then you can get that. So this is the tool which provides facility to share. So we studied three different tools which are equivalent and to be handled on Nix. Nix was a terminal-based monitoring tool. So what we did was we used a graphical user interface and we called it the Tractor. So I discussed, and some of the students who built the software, they argued with me that we have done an exceptional work. I said, how does it work on this thing? So it's available. This Tor Nix. Nix is a protocol, or Nix is a component or a software part where you can find the basic terminal monitoring information from Tor relays and clients. Right, provides real-time monitoring of Tor node activity. But what is happening inside, we don't know. But at the entry level and the exit level, we can easily find out. So it displays metrics such as bandwidth usage, connection counts, and circuit delays. Its intuition and lightweight interference for relay operators and researchers. So that's the strength that this Nix has. But it's a command line operator, and what we did actually was game. You used a game theory, and then you can make it, right. So that's this thing. How does it work? It connects to the Tor process via its control port. Displays 5 metrics for logs. Logs for monitoring to the Tor performance. So these are three protocols which we try to learn, and we can continue that. What we did was we created a graphical user interface for this, and we called it the Tractor. That's what we did, right? So why use Tornix is still there. So we'll try to look at debugging and optimizing Tor relay performance. That's a major reason why Tornix has to be used. So there is no other tool. There was no other tool except this Tornix. Till people became very curious about networks. So we can look at a use case example: monitoring the bandwidth using a Tor relay during peak hours. So you can find out how it happens. You know, debugging a connection issues in a Tor client environment. We can do that. When you have benefits in Tor analysis, so provides detailed real-time statistics for relay operators and useful for identifying performance bottlenecks and attempts. So you can see how it looks like. So this is the kind of a command line information. So you have Nix running here, and when you say a lot of all, so it has more permissions, and then it evaluates and it gives you the bandwidth limit. It gives you the various events that are happening, and then you can try to extend it. And then there is some more informations that are there, so you can try to do that. Um, this is something that you can look at. So Tor configuration and all those things, right? Then Torbot was a paper. Torbot was written as an automated crawler for Tor hidden services. Some main features are basically Tor is basically it crawls onion websites to collect data for analysis. That's the basic idea of Torbot. Torbot is like a small program. It goes and gives information and vets more information and comes back. So that's something that you can try to plan as well. It allows researchers to analyze trends and pattern among the dark webs. So that's very important. It can be used for large scale data collection from hidden services. That's how Torbot uses. So how it works? It automatically navigates through multiple onion, what do you say, onion sites to collect the data, and data is analyzed, providing insights into dark web activities. So So that's something that you can look at. Automatically navigates through multiple onion sites. It gets the data. Torbot. Torbot is a paper, and you can refer the paper example, right? It collects data and hidden services for further internet intelligence and analysis. The benefits that we see is automates the process of gathering large number of gathering other and that's what we can see. Can be used to monitor changes in dark web, marketplace, or forums. So we have this Tor web, Torbot, and then you can get the address. You can find out how many websites are active, and you can try to uh, do any one of them. So ensure the Tor connection is functioning and active. Capture directory service things. So that's what packet captures you do. Then you analyze using TCP dump nodes how the relay nodes are performing. So Tor data transmission. So it mentions exit node to one on port 4747. So it talks about the local host and sends that information. So if you look at that, so this is some of the information how you can proceed and get the data transmission. Similarly, Wireshark or TCP dump are same. In fact, the graphical user interface uh, is a network protocol analyzer that can confuse the starts and stops. So we have key features, supports live traffic capture. That means you don't have to wait. You don't have to capture and analyze. You can capture while your data is coming. You can analyze hundreds of protocols, including TCP, UDP, HTTP, and SLS, TLS. We can also look at how it works. It captures patterns transmitted over a network interface, declare and delays. So how it works, it captures packets transmitted over a network interface, and it decodes and displays packet details for in-depth analysis. So you can drill down into the parameters collected by Wireshark, and wherever the parameters matches doesn't match, there's a color code which is used, and it talks about the severeness of the attack, right? So how it would be is a question, right? So that's something that we can try to look at. Why use Wireshark? Basically, when there's a network issues can happen on any system, and then it's more important that we understand the internal architecture. Then we'll try to rectify the external architecture. So why use Wireshark is clear. Then the use case we already discussed, and benefits also we discussed. So this is how a Tor output will look like. This is sender data, and this is the receiver data. Both are addresses of our network only. So what is the purpose of TCP dump? If you ask me, TCP dump and you wear a graphical user interface, it becomes Wireshark. So and then of course the drill down multiple Excel entries that you need to enter so that it becomes very easy. So that's a lightweight and highly economical, right? And it captures and filters traffic using Berkeley packet filter, which is called the BPF syntax. And then that's also important because depending on the kind of development that has happened, we need to understand where it comes from, right? And somebody developed this TCP dump, which is basically a libpcap library. And if you want, you can read more about how was TCP dump created, how was Wireshark created, how they integrated all the existing setis. So that's something that we can try to look at, right? So monitors attacks on a special network interface. That's how it works, and it captures packets and allows real-time inspection or saving for other offline analysis. So why use TCP dump? Again, it's similar to Wireshark. It also analyzes dump. So that's a question that we can answer, because TCP dump, many of the security people must have used. Wireshark, many of you must have used. The use case, capturing traffic to and fro from a traffic node for analysis. You can do that. If there are unusual patterns or potential attacks on network traffic, we can try to inform. So benefits in Tor analysis: precise filtering to focus on a specific traffic, TCP traffic to Tor ports, efficient environments without graphical information. So this is how a node capture happens. This is the, what do you say, the client. So if you look at a summary of tools, this is how the output looks like. Okay, so you can see the details of the products, how it has come back to that point, right? So that's the point where it stacks. So various tools, what are the advantages, what are the key features, what are the problems that you see? And finally, Torbot, you see that there is some reset notation. So you have Wireshark, TG dump, and Tornix. Tornix became Tractor. Some of the students here, they have done it. This is the Tractor team, and they have done it, right? So that's something that you can try to look at. Tractor was what we developed, and Tor Shield is also what we developed later. Tractor uses what is called a STEM library, STM library, and the STEM library is what actually creates the connection between the normal user and a Tor network. So if he has to access to that, so he accesses the Tor browser. Tor browser connects all his uh, data to a location where the data is actually sent outside the country, or some access is issued or is sent. So we see that the Tractor was only able to use STEM API, but TorShield modified the STEM API, and we wrote the programs and kept it in parser and tried to complete that part, right? So we can remove the dependency of Tractor on pre-developed STEM API. You can try to look at what is the schedule, right? So this is how the Tractor looks like. We developed an interface which was the same as that interface that you saw for Tornix, but then Tractor has more good vision. So we have variety of things that can be deleted, and then you can do that. The other one is called honeypot deployment. Now, one of the research presently, the student that is there with me is doing research in this area, and then he's actually working out on trying to develop a production honeypot for a virtualized for a simulated onion service. So basically, what you uh, say is I will place a honeypot which will not have an address again. So honeypot is something which is almost like an anonymous communication network itself. But then honeypot is set up, added to the network. You don't get network, but actually you get a lot of appreciation, and then you get uh, so you can try to do that, right? So that's also called a decoy system, right? Decoy system, honeypot, where there is no IP address, so traffic should not come to the honeypot. But because we have kept some service on the onion side, a lot of traffic is coming on the onion side because the address has been what do you say, published. How to reach there is an issue, and that's where people are getting stuck. So that's where you use a honeypot, and then we could not set up physical honeypots on the live network. So we sandbox this environment. We put that in a single network, one man, the one person and the other. So you can create that. So in a virtualized, instead of having multiple systems, we used the virtual machines on a single powerful server, and then manage this, right? And then we monitored and logged all activities on the honey onion service using a research honeypot, and you got that information. We deployed a production honeypot also in the network, and observed closely what are the chat room and enabling identifiers and potential attackers, how they do that. That's what we try to look at. Deployment of automated scripts inclusive of attack vectors and HTML scraping, like SQL injection attacks, usernames, enumeration, cross-site scripting, path traversal attempts to identify vulnerabilities, and glean additional insights into the dark web. So these are a variety of things that you can come up with honeypots, and you can correct the data, right? So basically there may be multiple VMs. There are two Elastic, Logistash, and Kibana. So those are the tools: ELK, electrostatic. Uh, so you have VM1, VM2, and VM3. Then you have different web servers here. So this is uh, Logstash, Kibana, and Elasticsearch, right? So the three tools are combined, and then you have three multiple there, and there is one login which is done using the web server, and then monitoring is done. So you have various production honeypots which are continuously monitoring such packets, and then you need to start uh, on the this thing. So you can these are virtual machines which are acting as entry nodes, or these are acting as entry nodes, and then these are such honeypots, and finally you can get it from this Tor endeavors point, and that's how you get connected and we use a single system. We run an APS app, and we put that multiple virtual machines on that. Each virtual machine is able to get that, right. It We had a production honeypot which was simulated honey onion service, where a lot of narcotics, firearms, and hacking equipment was mentioned. So automated scripts used to modify configuration files for Tor relay, specifically how to handle this. So there are automated scripts which can be used to modify the configuration files. Then you have what are called the socket ports. You can connect to that. Then the hidden service directories for private key storage, local server, and advertised points of the port of the Indian service. So all server requests with their timestamps are logged extensively. So you have port 80, port 9030, 9051 are analyzed for request types and content. Distinguishing between you can look at that. So all server requests and the timestamps were logged. So these ports 18, 9030, and 9051 were analyzed, and you could get that. So research honeypot enabled with automatic attack scripts attracted potential malicious users and malicious activities. There are a lot of onion services that are there. Timestamp requests and the guard's location was able to cut it. So users observations, user activity observations. So you can see that hidden services by external entities, they indicate user behavior. So malicious user, based on the activities of the honey onion, you can identify the malicious users. They use data over 250 TD, what you said, Tor relays and service equipments. The data honey onion deployment team for September 22nd to 23, where we ran this data for almost a month or so, 15 days to 20 days, and we submitted a paper in the International Conference on Digital Forensics, and we got that accepted, right. So it was documented. It has some 28,799 communications, and so that's what we can try to look at. So documented, analyzed about 29,000, odd communications from the web chat forum, and they are linked. And finally, you could the attack, right? So that's so. What are the honey onion service? There are so much of information, which is the investigation honeypot, and there's a production honeypot. You capture data on both of them, and you see that a lot of data can be easily collected. So on a web chat forum, like you can have any, what do you call, means what do you say, the data which is there on the chat forum, like web Telegram or something, and then you can usually get that. One of the questions that was given to us also as a challenge was to set up a private network. First, set up a private network. Why to set up a Tor network? If you want to really understand how Tor is working, you need to set up a private Tor network. So take 10 systems, don't connect to the internet, and create a system and see what is actually happening. Is a copy of the packets being sent? Let some systems, send some data, and it uses. So the node systems are created, the attachment systems are created, and finally you have both of them together. And then you can so what you can try to do is you can set up a Tor network. Maybe you can use 4 or 5 virtual machines on a single system, and you can do that. You can try to create a direct link between the client and web server, or you can create through Tor network. And then you can test and see what can happen, right? So you can examine the network for the following information, that is destination, source address, number of intermediate nodes used by the packet headers, and contents. So this is how a network topology looks like. So you have 4 virtual machines running on a server. You can have one client, which can be a laptop, a palm top, or mobile, and then you can run it there also, and then you can have these that are there's a architecture still they are having different issues. You can look at how this thing. So within the Tor private network, you have to manipulate the Tor RC file, the relay file, and the client file, and you can see various instructions here. You'll have to set the Tor RC file reconfiguration file, and then you configure them. You can do the testing Tor network option. you have to set it. You can keep the exit policy. You can configure who all is using and how to go about is mentioned here, and you get the results. Resultant file is saved in the HTML directory. So you can test the private Tor also, and then if you're doing this, we will use Tor Nix or our own protocol Tor this thing to get back on this, right? So this is still in the process. Some of the experiments are done. So presently, as we try to conclude, we can try to look at which challenges or things. The anonymous communication networks are there, such as Tor. So there is another communication network, I2P. I2P is Internet Invisible Protocol. I2P is Internet Invisible Protocol. Internet, which is also offers anonymity. Each of them has unique features and functionalities, and because each of them are distributed in nature, it's very difficult to track two endpoints of communication with greater uh, privacy and anonymity for its users, right? So you can have routing traffic through a series of volunteer operated nodes or relays ACNs effectively obscure the origin and destination of internet traffic, make it nearly impossible for third parties to track or trace the user activity. So traceback and attribution is the most difficult part. So what are you doing? We are just analyzing. We are not able to catch anybody. It's very difficult unless and until they use alternate mechanisms at the same time, do some browsing, do some visits or something like that. So you can try to correlate that and get that geographical location, and you can do something. Otherwise, it's very difficult. So the law enforcement agency deals with anonymity by using strategies that protect the privacy of regular users while identifying the offender, which is again a difficult choice. So it's unlawful. What do you say, websites rather than illegal users is the most efficient way. So instead of capturing who is using Tor, find out who is using malicious websites, malicious onion websites. So you can go find out the malicious onion websites, go and find out who is using them, capture them, and try to. So that's something that you can look at, right? There are legal and ethical considerations which are also important. So somebody is using Tor protocol, it's a privacy anonymous communication network, and you should not break the human rights which are provided. And it may be unethical. You may be a forensic investigator, but you still need a lot of. So that is a challenge for law enforcement agencies. They must continuously evaluate and update their practices. They must maintain public trust and protect individual rights. So this all becomes very challenging as we look at. So how do I keep an individual privacy? How do I keep public safety? Both the things cannot be there. So there must be a judicial oversight to protect privacy. Because if somebody individual's privacy is maintained, then public can get affected, because an individual can create a havoc. So you need to do that. So there is a transparency and accountability to make some of these things very important. So how dark web is usually represented? All the onion sites are dark web, and they signify a red color, which is online criminal activity. The entire dark web is criminal activity is sometimes thought about. All unindexed websites are in dark web is what something is done, which is usually thought, but this is a myth. So actual thing is something like this. The reality is there are onion services which do so many things other than malicious activity. There is online criminal activity outside of what do you say, outside of these Tor networks or using dark web, but then that is only a very small portion. Lot of criminal activity is going on the Tor. Only a little bit is going on unindexed website. There are so many unindexed websites. The unindexed websites on the website are very few. So this is the reality. But if you look at the scope again, you will even be surprised. The scope is onion services are very less compared to online activity and online unindexed websites. So that's something that we can look at, right? So as a conclusion, what I would like to say is that dark web monitoring and governance requires a multifaceted approach. It's not very easy. So you need police permission. You need you can't. We never conducted our experiments on our college network, because if something goes wrong, the administration, the people who are managing the network, they will be at risk, because we are doing experiments and we have to take prior permission otherwise. So presently we are using private networks, and we have written a project where we may get a private network to be set up, and many projects run with private networks in the institution. Evolving tools and investigation frameworks also provide, and recently one of the paper it got strong comments, and the author mentioned there are uh, so many what do you say, so many ways that you can try to look at. So it's all the tools that are required, so you need to understand how we can bridge the gap between anonymity and then still maintain accountability. So various source of information may be there. So OSINT methods collect a lot of information and give it to us. So we need to understand the OSINT tools mechanism also. These are some of the references of the content that is shared. And then I'll stop here for questions, if any. If you have any questions, we will try to take it forward. I will share the slides with Dr. Vikas, and we'll take it forward. Okay. Okay, so there's one question: dark websites vanish and reappear on new Onion domains quickly. How do tools like Hunchly and Onion Scan track and preserve this transient data strategy to deal with this? There is no way to track this anonymous communication networks. There are multiple ways of changing, so hence there is no way that I can capture this data and keep it protected. So I will only get as much data as I can, and that's the only way I can do that, right? So I cannot get that information and I cannot maintain that. So only the way to do it is to collect some information and capture the data and try to work it out. That's the only way. Okay, any questions on Tor
So,
structure or yeah, yeah, please. If there's
so
anything you can.
participants, if you have any question, kindly put it in the chat box.
Yeah, I understand that it takes some time to digest Tor and dark web to understand how it goes, but you can try to look at some of these tools. They are very easy to install and use them. So please install and use them. Try to create an Onion website. Try to compare these things. You can do that. Tor project is the best website that you can look at. And if you're trying to understand what is more important, I will talk about Free Haven. Free Haven is a project which keeps anonymous communication, right? So there is a lot of these Tor content is also there, and a lot of publications which are very important papers which are there. You can find those important papers which have been published in 2024 and 25 is also mentioned. 25 has not yet been updated, I think. 24 has been updated. So to start with, where you can do it is this address, right? So please go to this website, Free Haven. Look at papers. I think 22 and 23 they did not update, but later they updated. So you can see most of these papers are published in very good conferences like Usenis Security Symposium. They are published in Free and Open Communications on the Internet. Most of them are published in 33 Usenix. They are some are published in Privacy Enhancing Technologies Symposium (PETS). It was also called POPETS, Proceedings of Privacy Enhancing Technology Symposium. There's a 24th symposium which is happening in 2024. So this year it's the 25th symposium that is happening. So at IEEE Symposium on Security and Privacy, the 45th conference. So there are papers in that. So you can understand what is the scale at which we are trying to work it out, right? So some of the very important conference papers and journal papers are mentioned here. The 27th ACM conference on computer and communication security. 22 they shared, but 23 and 24, 23 I think not much shared. 24 they have shared, 25 is yet to be shared. So you can look at that, and somebody can help them to measure it. So that is something that you can visit. That's one thing. The second site that you can visit to find out what is more information is called the Tor project. If you want to start somewhere, torproject.com or torproject.org, I think. Yeah, torproject.org, where you can get the Tor browser. You can watch some tutorials. There's a community, and in that community, you can actually read through a lot of these things. There are training, outreach, onion services. Okay, there is research, so you can try to understand, download the Tor browser, and then you have a lot of literature that you can actually look at, right? So that's how, so you can look at resources and other things which are there on the website. I'm posting that website, torproject.org, so you can do that. Any research directives? Yes, that papers that are there, website fingerprinting. Please read that Free Heaven, that website. Please visit the website, freeheaven. I put that on the chat. So freeheaven.net. You can look at the papers starting from 2020 onwards or 2018 onwards. You view some of the papers. They are all heavily loaded on anonymous communication networks, Tor protocols, and dark web, right? So you can look at that. A lot of research directions, bandwidth inflation, website fingerprinting. So these are some challenges that are there. Uh, how do we analyze censorship? How do we circumvent censorship? These are questions that you can look at. How Tor is defeated, or how Tor protocols are. What are the vulnerabilities in the Tor protocol? How you can restrict the Tor protocols? You can look at that, right? So those are things which are there. Analyze self and decide what we serve to society. Yes, yeah, you can try to see how best you can do that. And why I bring in this topic here is because Indians, we are not much aware of these things, and it is time that we try to look at some of these things and prepare ourselves to capture the data and do it. Otherwise, if we don't keep a track of what's actually happening, we may be caught off guard. So some Indians must be there in every field, and that's where I would like to bring this aspect to try to look at that aspect. Yeah, any recommended literature I have put in there. Tor project you can look at. Free Heaven you can look at from websites. Some papers you can download them and read that. It all by your own judgment. Use the services or not. Yeah, use the services or not is obviously there, but now the question is, some people are misusing the network that is there and abusing the system. So, should we actually understand how we can stop the abuse? Someday, a normal user on a normal internet may be abused by some of these people who are using this technology. So, at that time, what do we do? Should we do that? Future research works. Yeah, we have submitted a project recently, and we have mentioned some of the uh, how to collect Tor data, how to reach out to the Tor information, how to analyze that, how to create uh, data across, how we can do that is a big challenge, right? So maybe meanwhile I will look up that project. I will share the some of the challenges that are there. Meanwhile, if there are any questions, you can type in the chat. So hopefully you're able to see this.
Yes, sir, it is visual.
Yeah, yeah. So these are some aspects that we wanted to do. Uh, how do I enhance this? Okay. Yeah. Are you able to see this? So we are trying to create something simulation of data set generation, machine learning development for trying to capture whatever data has been captured. These are some tools: Experimentor, Shadow, Custom VPTN. So these are some data sets which are there, and then we use various uh, tools to analyze that. We design a lightweight IDS. There's a defense mechanism and integration validation. So what we tend to do is this develop a multi-layer behavioral analysis framework. So we'll capture packets, flows, network layers, capture timing, entropy, routing features. So all these things can be done. We simulate Tor traffic under adversarial conditions by injecting congestion, relay churn, obfuscation mechanisms into Tor traffic. We'll use deep learning models like CNNs, LSTMs, graph neural networks, and also generate behavioral signatures and forensic intelligent reports. Right. So we create a real-time IDS analysis, which can be done a defense mechanism, which can be done using multi-path obfuscation. So this obfuscation is a big aspect that is there. This is the tool that has been submitted, and so these are milestones. What we tend to do, we'll do literature review, then set up passive traffic capture gateway, uh, deploy simulation environments like Experimentor, and then try to understand WTF pad, Snowflake. If you read the literature, you will find all this. Want to create a dark web data set shortly? We'll make it available in a year or so once we get the funding. Implement wavelet entropy, DTW, and uh, session timing networks. We'll get a simulation cluster configuration pack, behavioral feature extraction toolkit, which is Python based. Then we will do the attribution and ethics pipeline, build a lot of DL networks, deep learning models, implement the attribution engine. Uh, so all these things, these are, as you can see, benchmark fidelity, AI model pack, and all can be done. Uh, you have a variety of things that can be done, right? So these are the product modules and description. These are all you can construct. That is what you can try to do. This is exactly what is very latest that we can look at what we are trying to do. So can you share this document? Yeah, once the project comes, I will be able to share the document. It is currently under evaluation at the ANRF, the Anusandhan National Research Foundation. Can we focus on TL and AL layers, because as per whole session FTP, a simple protocol is used and modified for the same. Mm, yeah, the protocol is simple, but the protocol is creating the encrypted traffic, and then you need to try to look at how we can do it. It's not a simple FTP session that we are trying to do. So that is something that we can look at. Yeah, I will encourage you. I can't share the document, but I'll encourage you to read all those papers which are available. And the conferences are very good as you look at it. Please visit the conferences which have papers on Tor and dark web. That is CCS. I'm typing them here. ACM CCS, which is world's best conference. IEEE security and privacy. If you just type them on Google, you will get that. NDSS, which is also a very good conference. Usenix, Usenix, Usenix Security Symposium. Okay, so these are there, and then PETS, privacy enhancing technology systems, or something like that. PETS. So these are 4 or 5 very important conferences which are worldwide popular. very difficult to get in. You may have to work for 2 3 years to get a paper in that. So if you start now, I think you can get that. If some of you are very good researchers, I think you should take. These are some of the papers which are mentioned in the Free Haven website. And a target is that maybe you can look at TIFS also has a lot of papers. Transactions on Information Forensic Security, which is an IEEE journal, IEEE TIFS. So you can look at that papers as well. So yeah, a lot of basic work you can do and publish in very many Indian journals, very easy. Indian conferences and Indian conferences uh, and open access journals are very easy to publish. But attempting these conferences, the reading the paper itself will take a few days, and implementing that paper will take a few months, and then modifying the paper and improving the paper will take a year, and then hopefully, if you get lucky. So that's where I stop. If there's anybody, okay. Yeah, I shared that aspect, that collection of data on these networks, setting up these. There's another tool called Chutney, which is a simulation tool. If you don't want to go deep inside, you can just go to a tool called Chutney. uh, uh, of course, in Chutney means achar in a South Indian language. But you can set up on a single machine and understand how Tor works, right? And then you can, people have worked with the Chutney and do that, right? Presentation, we can do it definitely, and then you can explain to students. Yes, I will share the slides straight away to Vikasji, who will put it in your material. Where is this? It's 1 minute. Mm, yeah, dark web investigation. Yeah, I've sent the slides to uh, Vikasji.
Yes, sir, I got it.
So he will share the slides to you, and says more information about 100 slides. Some more data I've added actually in this slide, more than what I've taught you is there, so you can look at that. Yeah, these are the latest slides. So I use some other slides, and unfortunately, anyway, no problem. That's great.
So, participants, any more question? So, sir, no more questions, and I really thankful for having you in our FDP. Actually, taking time out of your busy schedule. Yeah, the participant might not be knowing the number of responsibilities you are parallelly handling. Okay, so but I am knowing, and getting you on the FTP was really big job that I have done. And basically, I wanted to blend various diverse topics into this malware, how we can have the diverse topics in this one. So that's why I have invited sir, and graciously he agreed to take the session. But you can see how tired sir is. So basically, from morning to evening, he is a kind of inspiration for us, the young generation who is just joining the academy. So there are a lot more to learn from sir, how he deals with daily tasks or daily responsibilities. So definitely I am learning various things from him. So thank you so much for spending time with us, sir. Thank you so much for the insightful session. And uh, thanks all the participants also to make this session engaging, to make your uh, means participation, keep your participation active. So thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you. All the participants are there till the end of the this thing, so that is
Yes, sir.
something which is interesting. And of course, it will take some time. Please don't worry. It'll take time to digest, as some of you are interested to go through the slides and the material. So please read and go through. Tor project has a lot of introductory slides. A lot of material is there. Please read that. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all the participants, and we are closing for the day. We will be meeting tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Thank you so much, sir. Good night, sir.
Good night. Yes.